Brian was my beau from the age of 16. One unusual, balmy British summer's day, my friend Jane and I, seeking refuge from the baking London heat in the local leafy park, espied Brian and his friend and decided to follow them. Of course, they were aware we giddy girls were stalking them. They would turn around and we would dutifully giggle. They made no effort to engage us until the path that led through Whippendale Woods. Brian, nervously laughing, inquired if we wanted to join them for drinks. At the dog pub, Jane and I enthusiastically agreed. Brian was the taller of the two boys, with ginger hair and a shaggy mess. His fair skin was besieged by freckles. He sported discarded army camouflage gear. Brian was a hippie. His companion, Neil, was slight. He wore a torn black army leather jacket. His teeth protruded. His round face was cloaked by a shock of shoulder-length, wavy hair. His nickname was Trog. During the walk to the pub, our conversation was curbed, paused, and polite. The boys scrounged in their pockets and bought us shandies to drink. Trog seemed enchanted with Jane. Jane had big breasts, as my mother was always referencing them. "So, you are going for a walk with Jane? She's the one with the overly large bosom. Poor girl." Neil announced that he had to take the bus home, and Jane, to my surprise, agreed to accompany him to the bus stop, even though she lived in the opposite direction. This left Brian and I to make small talk. I learned that he was studying maths and was intent on becoming an architect. He liked to dance, embraced art, photography, and old rhythm and blues music. He was a Renaissance man and trapped in a nerd's body. He was an all-around nice guy, steady and considerate. He was 2 years older than I. Brian lived on a council estate, which I knew would not sit well with my mother. She was always reminding me thereafter. "He can't even speak properly. He will never be accepted in university with his diction and background." 5 years later, when Brian and I were finishing our degrees, my mother would have to eat her words. During our college years, we were separated. I remained in London, and Brian was at Bath University, some 115 miles away. We reconnected at holidays and summers. In order to earn money, Brian worked with his father at the Rolls-Royce factory in the boiler department. Brian's father was a squat northerner whose speech at times was indecipherable. When his father was not imbibing pints at the local pub, he sat enthroned in the corner of the tiny living room with his snarling dog, Betsy, at his feet. She was a mix of Dachshund and Rottweiler. If you moved too quickly, Betsy would dart out from beneath Brian's father's chair and nip at your heels with relish. Brian's father found this amusing. Brian's mother, Joan, was a meek, apologetic woman with ginger hair. Joan worked in a school cafeteria. She would never voluntarily contribute to conversations. Her light was Brian. When I visited Brian, on occasion, I was invited to spend the night. Brian had to report for work at 5 a.m. in the grimy boiler room. The arrangements for my overnight stay were proper. Brian slept in his room down the hall, and I slept in the box room next to his parents' bedroom. One particular Monday, I had slept over. Brian had left to be a wage earner. His mother had long gone to assist in the cafeteria. I was in a deep sleep on a single bed in the box room. It must have been about 8 a.m. as I stirred. I could hear the birds singing, and shafts of sunlight made themselves known on the rose-patterned wallpaper. As I awoke, I felt a hand cupping my left breast, and then my right. I opened my eyes to see the face of Brian's father above me, contorted and scarlet. He withdrew his hand. I had no idea how long this violation had been. He reached with his less incriminating hand to the bedside table and produced a floral cup and saucer, murmuring, "I made your cup of tea." He replaced his excuse at the bedside table. He was red-faced and ugly. He backed out of the room, saying, "I believe in you now." I knew. There and then, Brian and I were finished. We split up a few weeks later. Brian was heartbroken. He kept asking, "What have I done?" I couldn't, and would never tell him, nor anyone else. The sins of the father.